right, we are back in black. We got the big boys out today. We have the GORUCK GR3 35 liter. Recently arrived, highly anticipated and often requested bag from GORUCK. Why? Because we had a 26 liter biggest GR1, and then we had a GR3 45 liters, and in the middle we had this 2 compartment setup for everything in the middle. So there was people that wanted something in the middle that was just single compartment, single cavity, so finally that's what we have. This is the GR3 35 liters. We're gonna compare it to a bunch of things. We're gonna compare it to the GR2 34 liter. We're gonna get out the big boy 45 liter, and then we're gonna compare it to the EVERGOODS CTB35. So if you're in this middle range, and for me, mid 30s is the sweet spot for travel because I can go for a week beyond in this size bag. 40 liter GR2, I have had and sold those a couple times. I just never see the utility of that size bag. So for me, this middle 30 range is the sweet spot. That's why I have the EVERGOODS and the 34 liter. This is a special edition one. And so we'll talk about that as we get through it. But let's get into the details of the GR3 35 liter from GORUCK. And starting off, let's just talk about the differences between the 35 and its big brother, the 45 liter, which I've had for a while. Now, the 45 liter that is available on the website right now, actually it's sold out, I believe. I looked at a lot of things online. But the one they've listed on the website right now has MOLLE webbing on the front and the sides. This one has it on the front, but not on the sides. It's just one minor difference. And really, other than that, and then there's the dimensions, which we'll talk about here at the end as we get all the bags out and talk dimensions. But the other thing is these were all 1000D everywhere. This one's 1000D everywhere except the back panel, 210, which I know some people don't like, but I love it. I'm a big fan. So 210 back panel on the 35 liter inside of the straps. And I didn't know this, inside of the hip belt, which makes total sense. That's one big difference here. 1000D everywhere in the 45 liter and the one they've listed, and 210 here. So that's it. Compression straps, both sides on the outside. Handles, excellent. Top handle, standard. Bottom of the bags, also the same. They got these ways for you to put other things in there. They sold I think they called it a GR3. Basically, it was like a brick bag or other bag that you could attach to the bottom of these. And so that was pretty cool. I don't have one of those. But anyway, the other differences that I just kind of want to point out. This is an older GR3. And when they came out with, at the time, they allowed you to order slick, which I did, or the standard one with webbing, and there's some other options. But anyway, I got the slick version because I think on this big bag I wasn't going to attach anything to it. But anyway, so that's the difference. This is slick. The standard one has loop webbing, MOLLE webbing on the front and the sides, which this one lacks because of the handles and the straps and that kind of thing. So other big differences on the outside are this one has a hydration port. The one on the website still lists that it's going to have a hydration port. Now the 35 liter, got a quick access pocket, top pocket, which I'm a big fan of. It because it's a bigger bag, it's a bigger pocket. It goes the whole top of that bag, so it's really, really cool. Very spacious, black, I believe it's 210, lined pocket, which is awesome. Now, that's really cool. Now, these hip belts are removable. There's a Velcro pad on the inside that allows you to disconnect it and rip this sucker out and store it inside the bag. Normally, I don't have these out because even in this size bag, when I've used it, I didn't use the hip belt. But to be honest, if I was gonna go to Europe or some other thing, backpack out of this thing, I would want this hip belt. Now we get the GR2 out, there's no integrated hip belt system, so you're gonna have to put something into the loop on the side and use one of the GORUCK, style ones, which just fits a little differently. This one is heavily padded on the 45 liter. No difference over here. We've got strap keepers sewn in, beefy buckle in the middle, and again, the 210 lining, and it's super nice. I just like the way that's designed in there with the angles, and it's behind the frame sheet, which is thick and substantial. So one thing they did not include, bummer, is a sternum strap. This size bag, probably gonna want a sternum strap. I luckily ordered, last time I ordered one, I ordered two, so I have one for this, just haven't put it on here yet. Want to know how to put a sternum strap on without, you know, teaching kids other words that maybe you don't want them to learn yet. I did a video on that. I'll put a link to that one. So if you're installing a sternum strap with the holiday season coming on, there you go. So that's it. Big beefy straps, the ability to put the sternum strap on there. And one last thing about the sternum strap, all these bags with the 210, I really do think you really need a sternum strap, because this is just slicker on your clothing and it has a tendency to spread apart, fall off. So just be aware. Probably gonna want a sternum strap. So if you're ordering this, definitely go over to the sternum strap and put it in your corner. That's it externally. Internally, there's slight differences in the back panel, which we'll talk about once we get into it, but really that's it externally that I wanted to talk about. Now, one thing that people don't like is these compression straps are sewn onto the front of the bag, so you can't get into the zipper unless you undo these. You know, that's one thing to consider about this bag. I don't mind them. In fact, on the bigger bag, I love to have that ability, because one of the times I carried this, I went fly fishing. That's why I went big bag. So I had a bunch of stuff in there. And I love the fact that I can put my fly fishing rod in its case on the side, and it just kind of lashed in and it worked perfectly. So I like having those ability on these bigger bags. If you're going to use this thing for EDC, which 35 liters for EDC is a lot of stuff, that might get a little annoying for you, but whatever. Just consider that. Now, I am personally going to rip this thing out of here, store it on the inside, unless I don't think I want to use it. But anyway, here's a little video of all of these bags side by side on how they look. Now, they're taller bags. Again, we'll talk dimensions, but really, they're all generally speaking the same height, about 20-ish inches. The 45 liters obviously 2 inches taller, and so anyway, dimensions, I'll put up a chart at the end, but this is what they look like side by side in terms of height. Anyway, that's that. Now, quick access pocket being the biggest differentiator. The inside of these are standard GR3, and by that I mean, let's get this out of the way. It has 3 top pockets, almost said 2, but most of the GR1s have 2 internal pockets. This one has 3. So we have the standard GR3 pocket here, well, you know, GR series kind of pocket, and then 2 mesh. The GR1s have 1, and most of the GR2s have 1, either side entry or like this, but this one has 2. Lots of space to put stuff in there, and no dividers, no internal organization. None of the GORUCK bags typically have those, except the GR2 in one of their pockets. So that's that. Different zipper pull colors, black, gray, and green on mine. Also built in the USA. These are built in the USA bags. If that's important to you, for me it's not. Big beefy zippers, number 10 I believe. And just got they sold this a couple years ago. And now it's usually stuffing. Or if I'm going to a soccer game. This is the Whoopee! Ta-da! Anyway, it's pretty cool. And this is how big it is. Had the 16 liter bullet rack inside, just to kind of fill things out, because I was kind of running out of stuff to fill all these big bags. Now the back of this thing is pretty close to what the GR3 is. I'll get that thing out of here in a second, but we've got 2 webbing strips and a loop material. What are you going to do with the loop material? Well, anything with Velcro backing you'll be able to put in there. There's some brown buffalo attachments you could use in there. There's some triplet design ones you could put in there. GORUCK at one point had some field pockets, which are awesome, that had the Velcro on the back. Maybe Scars will make these. But these are good to just put in there, and then they're not going to go anywhere. Really, anything you want. No other organization on the outside. There is, and I'll try to put this in the video here. You can see these little straps in the bottom. That's for you to fold up the hip belt when you remove it and put it in there, and so it's always with you and it won't fly out. It does add padding to the bottom of the bag, which you really don't need, but I just like the idea of having it with me in case I decide to use it. I would probably, again, it just depends on how you're going to pack this thing. If you're going to go for a full week somewhere where you're going to be in and out in a lot of places, then I would definitely bring it with me and probably use it just to remove some of the load from my shoulders. So that's the internals. Now, just to show you the difference on the 45 liter, at least this edition, I'm not sure what I packed in here. Jackets, a bunch of puffy jackets that I do love. It's going to be on the gear guide. See that on Friday. And then another, this is the 14 liter. Yeah. Anyway, this is the, again, another bullet. And it was the same. I thought there was going to be more straps. But anyway, this one's got the D ring on the 45 liter, but it's the same, it's got the same internal. So really, aside from the quick access pocket and the 210, and a little bit of webbing on the sides, identical, except for the odd added dimension to get you up to 45 liters. I've not used this very often, to be completely honest. I've used it a few times and I am happy to have it, and it's definitely not going anywhere because when you need a lot of capacity, this is the way to go. That's the 45 liter GR3. Now, back to some comparisons. And the one thing I did want to talk about, we're going to get out the GR2 now. So the GR2, it's a 34 liter GR2. It's a special edition version. It's the shooter, so it's got a loop material everywhere. It's not the standard GR2 loadout. But I definitely, what I wanted to do in this video, it's a GR2 34 liter. I wanted to just completely overstuff it. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take all this stuff out and we're going to put it in that bag. And at the end, I'm going to take that and I'm going to put all of it in the CTB35 just to give you a mid-range comparison on what all these bags will fit. They're about the same within a liter of volume. Now this one is special. Again, it's completely slick, no loop panel there, but it has the side compression, which I really do love, and it has the customization on the inside. So I'm pretty close to set when it comes to bags now. It doesn't have the webbing, so it's gonna probably go to scars at some point, but it also doesn't have a quick access pocket. So I do have my issues, but it is 500D everywhere, which is super cool, and I do super like it. Now, comparisons in size, it's just a deeper fitting bag, but really, you know, it just fits and packs differently. I've also sold a couple of these in the past just because you really have to get your brain wrapped around the idea of either packing with multiple compartments or just one big open area. And so I normally gravitate towards one big open area, so that's why I'm excited about this one, because I just will probably pack in this one a lot simpler than having the different layers. Now, if you're going to be on the go and wanting to access different things and not having to unpack the whole bag, that's where the GR2 genius is. So, you know, it just depends on what you're going to be doing. If you're just going somewhere to sit, then the big area is probably perfect. If you're going to work out of the bag on the go and stop in multiple locations, then maybe you want something like this, the GR2. So now let's see, let's go with it. Let's pack everything out of here into this. All right, so here we are, and kind of did my best to pack. Now, what was the difference here? This is kind of a overloaded standard loadout. I have 2 medium Peak Design packing cubes. I have 2 smalls, and then I had what is normally, you know, my grab and go power solutions is here, and then I have my DOP kit, and then for around town I have my boogie bag from GoodWorks. So what the problem was, and sort of the genius of a GR2, is that you have the ability in a GR2 to really cram this big cavity full of stuff. And so, just generally speaking, the depth of that cavity is almost the same depth as this, which you get maybe a little bit, just a few more inches of depth out of this whole bag. So you really, it doesn't directly translate, which kind of surprises me, to be honest, but not that much. So the issue is, you know, on the GR2, I can really cram the main cavity with a bunch of stuff, just cram it in there like you saw was full. And then I have this front area to further utilize and not cram stuff in there like I would otherwise. So I had, you know, I had this in here, and I have my boogie bag, and then I have the other stuff in here. So honestly, that was kind of surprising of the way that kind of fit. So this one kind of packs out, just from my very rough estimation here. If this is 34 liters, you know, I kind of got, and now there is room on the side, so it's not completely full, but I kind of have to pack a little differently. So I'll have to take out one of these packing cubes, maybe jam stuff in the sides, and then to get my DOP kit in there, and then maybe just wear this on me, around me, when I travel. So there you go. That's just like, and there's room in here, but if I filled that out, then I don't have a lot of room for my sunglasses and stuff in the top pocket. So that's just a little bit of a packing quandary there. And again, I could step on this thing, and that one was completely overstuffed. But what are you gonna, you know, what kind of conclusions you can draw? Well, it's just harder to pack the same stuff in this bag, at least the way I did it. Of course, you could do it a different way, potentially. But this thing is just jam full. And so there's a small difference. So if you really want to put a number on it, if that was 34, this one more packs out at 32. If this is 2 liters. So I don't know. Kind of a weird situation. But anyway, it still packs awesome. And you know, the issue is when you get to your destination, you just have everything in there. And so it's just a big open area, and you can kind of see everything versus having that front area. So a lot of stuff, super cool, but again, just gonna have to think about how you're gonna pack it. This is way too much stuff. If you're gonna be just wanting to live out of this thing, don't take that much stuff. You're really gonna, because I'm not using the inside pockets either. That's what it is. So all right, that's that. Learned some things packing a GR2 style, 34 liter versus a 35 liter. And what's similar here is this. We'll see if we can kind of get that stuff in later. But the CTB35. Now, general comparisons here between the CTB35, we'll come back to this stuff, and this. This one also has an integrated hip belt. It's not removable, but what happens is you fold this on the inside in this little pocket behind. And I did a total video on this one if you want to go check that out here. But this thing fit in here. I just wanted to go apples to apples, get these out, so the video you'll see or saw shows the hip belts on and everything else. So harness not as padded or wide in terms of straps if you want to compare the CTB to the GR3 35 liter. Handles, cool, side water bottle pockets, which, you know, people love over here, people complain, but it's just what it is. I don't see them ever doing that. And then we got a side handle, which we have 2 over here, and it's nice. No attachment points on the bottom of the CTB35. We do have a top pocket, which I would argue is a way better design of a top pocket. Just the way it fits in the yoke area of this harness system. When it's closed and fully pulled out, you can kind of see this little wedge here. That's where that pocket lives, which is perfect. And so things don't get crushed as you're walking around. This is on the top. It's a little bit tougher to access because it's along the top and it's a slip pocket, so you really have to make some room to get in there. So it's just the way they design. This is on the top. This is sort of in the very back. Of course, we have a laptop area in the back. You can get all your stuff up, 2 different areas. And this one, easier to get in and out of because it's more on the side versus this is the standard L-shaped around 2 corners. But there you go. Now, I just have a bunch of stuff randomly packed in this as well. But it's also one compartment with 2 front pockets, right? So this one, pretty deep. And then this one opens on the side, goes in there as well with organization. So easy on the go for the EVERGOODS. Of course, the material is a little slicker. This thing's lighter weight and cheaper. So, and available right now. Now let's just see, apples to apples, if we can pack the same stuff that we tried to get in here. Let's move it over to the CTB35, just because that's what we're doing, and we have it all here. So here we go. Pretty much apples to apples in terms of volume size. 35 liters is 35 liters. And again, one thing I didn't take out was the laptop. So let's do that, just to call this thing complete. All right, so we've got everything in here. This thing's now empty. GR3, 35 liters. Everything fits. And I would argue is a little more accessible because you have this front pocket where I jam that sucker in there. I still don't have really anything in this pocket, which because it's out and away gives you a little more dimension. iPad mini would go in there, but I also didn't talk about my iPad mini would be in that front pocket. So there you go. That's, and again, what I didn't fit in there. So I have to replace one of the Pakt design packing cubes to get my DOP kit in there, simulated. Same thing, I use this GR1 size all the time, and my boogie bag. So honestly, when you're like going volume, I think that GR2 34 liter, just because the different compartment allows you really just kind of cram stuff in the main compartment and then just have some stuff looser in the GR2, makes a lot of sense. It's just, gonna dictate how you pack. And there you go. So that's the GR2. That's what I didn't put in there. All right, so that's the general comparison between these. A 35 liter and a CTB. I think these are just the most directly comparable bags. Surprising to me, the GR2 34 liter actually got some more things in there. Mostly just those 2 things, about 2 liters, maybe up to 4. Depends how you use those things. But I do like this thing. Handles, quick access pocket, 210D. This is gonna be, honestly, a really useful packing bag for me. And I'll just have to note that, honestly, this thing, with all the loop material, really wasn't using it for travel anyway. This is gonna probably be my powerhouse travel bag, rough and tumble. Now this is 1000D, way more durable, but it is more abrasive than the 420 stuff that you see the CTB. I think it's 420, might not be, but the CTB, and it's just slicker feeling bag. So it's gonna be coming down to personal preference, I think. Which one's better for you? Of course, this one's a little bit less expensive than this one. One thing I didn't get out, there's a reason for it, but this is the Pakt travel bag, which dimensions wise, it's pretty similar. Has a lot of other features, like side water bottle holder that's collapsible, different areas in the front which would be accessible. The ability to put, I put a bullet ruck in there before, or they sell their own everyday backpack which fits in there. All very good and useful. And really the biggest benefit of the Pakt travel bag is there's no other bag designed to better protect your laptop, because the laptop is in the dead center of this bag. It opens like a book and it just collapses on your laptop compartment. So these are bomb proof. Those are super cool. You drop that sucker, but it is, your laptop's on the back of it. But this thing is, boom, it's right in the, if you were gonna design a bag to really just protect your laptop, this would be a top contender. Now for me, I've used this one on a couple trips this month. I'm not doing a full breakdown of this one, because I'm kind of putting it right here. it just doesn't work for me. The whole book thing I've tried to use a couple times. The problem for me is when I open it up like a book, I don't have access to these other areas like I want to. So and most of my other things open up the other way, so I just really couldn't get my brain wrapped around it. But it is a very good bag, very awesome features, like what they're doing, but it's just ultimately just not my style, just the way it worked out. But anyway, before I go, I did want to put up a chart just to give you some idea of the dimensions. So I'll put it up here so you can look at it. Put it maybe here, yeah, right there. Sound good? But it's I compared the GR2 34 liter, the 35 liter, the 45 liter, and then I brought out the CTB35 and the dimensions. So you can see generally they're all about the same. The big boy 45 liters is just 2 inches taller. The GR2 34 liter and the GR3 35 liters essentially the same in terms of width. The GR3 45 liter and this bad Joni are 14 inches wide. Depth, this one's the most shallow, and I honestly believe that because it's 1.5 inches shallower than the GR2, and I can definitely see how that translated in terms of packing it out. The GR2 34 liter and the GR3 45 liter are both 9 inches, and the CTB 35 is about the same. The weights are all listed there. Obviously a lot of 1000D material. It's going to be a heavier bag at over 5 pounds. The other ones are roughly 4-ish pounds. Price, again, you can see them in the chart. Over $400, $455 for the 45 liter bag, and then $350 for the CTB 35. So there's comparisons, at least in a chart, if you were concerned about the dimensions. Now, this is, again, I think was an important entrance into this arena because it depends on how you pack, right? I packed in the packing cubes from Peak Design, which are just flatter, allows me to stack and just do some more geometry adjustments there. If you use the GORUCK ones, and I only have one set, the 10 liter one, and I have an 8 liter from EVERGOODS, you could probably just, stack a bunch in there better here because of the just depth of the bag. So anyway, also surprised just I couldn't fit those two things in there like I could in the GR2. Anyway, what do you think? Did you get this? It's still available. It was available, then it sold out, and I have more listed. I'm trying to get this video out quickly so that you can kind of see what it's like and make a decision whether it's the best bag for you. I know, I really like the 210 back. I think this would be a great bag to take to Europe, live out of it for a while, but I would really, have to think about how I was going to live out of it compared to the GR2. There you go. And then, CTB35, just a great one too. I would have a really tough choice if I was going to go away for a week. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. We'll see you in the next one. Got a lot of stuff coming out. We got some gift guides. We got some new releases from GORUCK. Anticipating an M23 from them, which would be really cool, and some other cool stuff that I know that is coming out from the Carryology and GORUCK world. It's already been not announced, but hinted at before. I don't know what it's going to be exactly, but I'm excited for all that. With that, we're going to get outside, enjoy the weather, take the dogs through the woods. So we'll see you in the next video. Got recently arrived the GR3. I'm going to start over.